Hey guys, remember to like the video and hit subscribe.
Remember, the key to the Israeli game is demographics. Demographics, demographics, demographics. That is always the key. That's the only thing that matters. So Israel does not want to annex the Gaza Strip. One, because it's land. Well, I mean, like, it's pretty, but they don't need it. They've got ports. They don't need, like, they have access to the Mediterranean. They don't need Gaza. But the biggest issue here is 2 million Palestinians. Now, if they can kick all 2 million Palestinians out, or at least a significant portion of them, like over 1 million of them out, well, that changes the math on a potential annexation quite significantly. I don't remember the numbers anymore. What was it? Is it 9 million in Israel, 7 million Jews, 2 million Arabs, and then the West Bank is 5 million Arabs, 5 million Arab Palestinians? Population, oh no, 3 million. Oh, it's 5 million total. West Bank plus the Gaza Strip is 5 million Palestinian Arabs. And then in Israel, as citizens of Israel, that's 2 million Palestinian Arabs and 7 million Jewish Israelis. So it's about 7 million each. Would kicking all the Palestinians out be sort of like the Trail of Tears? But I think I remember you weren't sold on that being a if I'm not sold on the Trail of Tears being a it's just because I don't know if applying retroactively like that is appropriate. And I don't know enough of the details about the Trail of Tears. I don't know if the goal was to have like a bunch of people killed then. Hey, She-Sharp 222, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Also, Nimrod, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Oh, a ton of people I think died on the Trail of Tears. Was it over half? A lot of people died on that. This wouldn't technically be a either though, but it would definitely be an ethnic cleansing. But I feel like people just want to use these words to, you know. Are there any Jews in Gaza? Obviously the West Bank has settlements. So in Gaza proper, there used to be a few Jews that lived there. But in 2005, at the end of the Second Intifada, Ariel Sharon, who was the prime minister at the time, kicked all of them out. He wanted to take everybody out of the West Bank and everybody out of the Gaza Strip and do a full disengagement and say, f it, because Sharon thought that the future of Israel would be doomed trying to hold on to both of these pieces of land, which it probably would have been. He was able to get full disengagement from Gaza, and I think 3 settlements destroyed and withdrawn from the West Bank, but not the rest. But since 2005, I don't believe there are any Jewish Israelis living in Gaza. Or maybe there's like 3 or so, I don't know. But like in general, no, there aren't any settlements anymore. They used to be in this, I think they were in the north here, Gaza City, I think around here. There was like a line of settlements. What does applying retroactively mean? If didn't exist the term before 1941, when considering the Jews in Europe, you wouldn't call the term was coined in 1944. Yeah, but I think the term was coined to describe the that was a huge part of it, right? And I think the guy was considering the Holodomor as well, but the Soviet Union was on the Security Council, and I think that they didn't go that direction. Although technically, I don't think any state has even been convicted of the crime of genocide. Although a couple individual actors have by the ICC over the Bosnian stuff, I think. Do you feel like misusing words like neo-Nazi and is a much bigger problem on the left from an optics point of view? So the problem with misusing the words is that it's not that people are just misusing the words and then they're like, oh, okay, I understand, and then they move on. The problem is people are trying to simplify the issues, or they're just not understanding the reasons why people are thinking the things they are. And if you don't understand why people are thinking the things they are, and you just call them all like racist or whatever, you miss like the nuance, you miss everything. And if you can't identify a problem, you can't fix a problem, right? Is the Constitution still not on the U.S., on the White House website? Destiny, with Trump as president, Assad regime ousted from Syria, and Hezbollah effectively crippled, wouldn't now be the best time for Israel to expel Palestinians from the West Bank if they really wanted to? Yeah, for sure, especially as other Arab states, because I think Saudi Arabia and I think Qatar and the UAE, didn't they, I'm going by headlines here because last week I've not been reading so much, didn't they all kind of like normalize relations again? Like they're all kind of like, hey, like, okay, we're chill again. So I think Israel is probably now, again, unless I'm missing something that's happened or I just haven't read deep enough into things, I think Israel is probably in the Zionist faction, or the ultra-Zionist faction of Israel is probably in the strongest position they've ever been in, at least in recent history, or ever, maybe right now. They're probably in a super, super, super strong position. Like, just think of like how good, how up you are. Like the Houthis have gotten fucked a bit. Hamas has gotten radically fucked. Hezbollah has gotten radically fucked. Of the 3 major warring states against Israel historically, it's been Syria, Egypt, and Jordan. Syria and Egypt were actually one country for, I think, like 10 years, starting in 66, maybe 5 or 10 years. They were actually one country, which was weird. But Egypt has made peace with you since 79. Jordan has made peace with you since 94. And now Syria is a failed state. And you didn't even have real borders with Syria. Like, Syrian borders were never formalized. I think the last opportunity, I think, for some kind of negotiation of an actual border, it was with, was it Barak or Rabin? I think it was with Rabin and Hafez al-Assad, but he was, I think Rabin like got cold feet and didn't trust him. And then after that, it was like fucked. So they didn't even have real borders with them. So if Israel wanted to like take over parts of Syria or like settle up or expand their borders a little bit, they could do it because Syria and Israel didn't even have real borders. They never agreed to it. They're just, Israel is just up so good right now. It's just insane how undeserved Netanyahu, or maybe he deserved it, I don't know. It's just insane, yeah. Like if you were a Palestinian right now, you are in like dire straits. You are super fucked. Trump is the president, so the US doesn't give a fuck about you. Nobody in the Middle East likes you at all. Your only ally was Iran and the Iranian proxies, which are all now in complete and utter disarray or dismemberment. Saudi Arabia and Qatar never normalized relations with Israel, at least not publicly. Oh, okay. I thought I'd read that Saudi Arabia and Qatar were like were either considering or already had. But yeah, Jesus, it's just, yeah, it's insane. Stop saying Qatar. It's like Qatar. I think Qatar or something. It's some bullshit like that. Qatar is a closer way to pronounce it correctly than Qatar, though. Some people say Qatar, but I think Qatar is closer than Qatar is not even remotely close to it. But I'm sorry, I shouldn't make fun of that. I'm sorry. Then what's really stopping Israel from committing real? This is gonna be like mean or not mean. Nobody. I don't care if you're a pro-Palestinian. If you don't watch me anyway. I don't think the Israeli people are a genocidal people. I don't think they want to kill, even the Zionists, I don't think want to kill all of the Palestinians. They just want them to leave. I don't know if, like, keep in mind, Israel hosts a lot of its own criticism. Like B'Tselem is like a human rights org that I'm pretty sure started just to track Israeli crimes against Palestinians. So as long as you've got like left-leaning publications like Haaretz, as long as you have people, you know, that are staffing like B'Tselem, as long as you have your left parties in Israel. Whoops, sorry, we're right up here. Wait, where the bro? Look at this map. Israel's not going to be genociding any of these people, but they definitely want to kick them the out. Why do you try to natively pronounce Arabic countries instead of the anglicized versions? I don't think I try to natively pronounce any of them. I just think Qatar is like decently close. I'm not trying to say like Qatar or whatever the f is Qatar. I could try if you want me to. If you want me to. Khaza. Did you look at the Lake and Riley Act? No. Are we all like women now? Did that happen? That was, bro. Those EOs were wild. Holy shit. Jesus Christ. What the f? Destiny VODs staying up? I'm pretty sure all my VODs get privated. Or unlisted? I don't know if they're unlisted or privated. But they're usually up on Kick, I think. Split VOD? Here you go. Trying to, why can't you call retroactively? I mean, you can. I don't know how I feel about like applying like formal understandings and definitions of crimes to things in the past when like everybody conducted themselves that way. Like it feels like a lot of there's a lot of like moral, not compulsion, not accusation. There's a moral weight. There's a word I'm looking for. Retardism. Yeah. There's a lot of like moral condemnation, I guess, that goes along with certain terms. And if it's a time when everybody is like conducting warfare that way, I just don't know if it would make sense to say that it's like, oh, everybody's trying to each other. I'm not sure. I get what you mean, but like it was bad that those things happened in the past, right? The world was a different place. I don't know, man. It's like, like let's say 30 years from now, let's say we've got lab-grown meat done perfectly. Like, would you call every single person in this era a murderer because they were eating like non-vegan food? I don't know. It just seems, I'm not sure. Not getting enough video. Oh shit, is my shit lagging? Because if Gaza is actually cleaned out and Palestinians are forced to relocate, would you call it an ethnic cleansing? Yeah, 100%. Of course. Easily. I think I would go as far as to say if any Palestinians are forced out of the Gaza Strip and not allowed to return without there being like concrete security reasons, like we know this guy worked with Hamas, not just like, oh, he's a fighting aged male, I think that would qualify as ethnic cleansing. Like if 50,000 people weren't allowed to return because, oh, we don't think it, whatever, they're just not allowed, like that, I would think that would be a bit of I think you could consider that at least partially like an ethnic cleansing. Yeah. I'm still, read this EO. I still haven't found this thing. Hold on. This is like my number one fear right now. And I think we should all be afraid of this a little bit more. But I also don't know what to do about it. Also, we need to find like, although this is going to be a little bit harder from my position now for a little bit, but we need to find like positive things to do. One of the things that I liked, I think Ben Wickler said this when I was speaking to him, is like etching out like small victories is really important because it makes it feel like you're fighting towards something and you're being productive and you're like achieving small measurable wins. I think that's really important to find right now because otherwise it's just like unimaginable levels of doomerism, which is not good. Yeah. Destiny, not sure how to describe it, but I feel like ethnic cleansing isn't a great term for situations like this because they're not being moved because they're an ethnicity. Does that make any sense? Lumi, I think I maybe could agree with you, but I think the overall context is that like Israel wants to annex the Gaza. Well, let me be clear. Israel doesn't want to annex the Gaza Strip per se, but they want to control all of this territory and have it brought into Israel proper. They just can't because of the demographic concern, because they're not going to be enough ethnic Jewish people. So if you're preventing people from returning to an area and you're expelling them after a war, like the war, I would never say this war was started for ethnic cleansing reasons. I think that that's a morally bankrupt and intellectually bankrupt argument. But if that's the result that happens afterwards, you're kicking people out from the Gaza Strip. You're not letting them go back for arbitrary reasons. And we all know that the grand design of Israel is ideally to be able to absorb the Gaza Strip, or not first, but like to absorb the West Bank while maintaining your demographic superiority. It's hard not to call it. It's hard not to call that an ethnic cleansing. How is Palestinian not an ethnicity? Well, it's an ethnicity and a nationality, which is difficult. But why Gaza? I get the West Bank, but why Gaza? Destiny, there's no historical significance. Well, I mean, like it would all be nice to have, but it would just be nice because then they could get rid of the problem of like the Palestinian problem is like one of the biggest, like, not to be dismissive of the whole group of people, but it's like one of the biggest like thorns in the side of the whole Middle East. The fact that Israel hasn't figured out how to deal with this issue yet, and the can is just being kicked down the road more and more and more after this huge bump we just had recently with the war and everything. Would you be okay with the U.S. acquiring Greenland if we did so by bribing the locals to vote to secede from Denmark? I don't think you should be able to vote to secede from your country. I don't think that's how countries or borders or anything work anymore, absent some like horrific crimes that are occurring or something. Greenland is not Denmark. Greenland is owned by Denmark, no? You guys keep saying it's an autonomous zone, but like wouldn't U.S. territories count or be considered like semi-autonomous or whatever? Like they're not necessarily part of the federal. I don't know what counts as like semi-autonomous. Greenland is its own country. I'm pretty sure Greenland is formally owned by Denmark, though. No, like Crimea was semi-autonomous as well. How do you feel about being able to renounce your citizenship? Do you think you should not have that right? I think generally people don't let you do that or don't want you to do that. One of the big issues that we have in the world, it's not a huge issue, but because people are so against it, is you don't ever want to have stateless people. Stateless people are really, really difficult to deal with, and nobody wants that ever, because it's just like, what the f do you do? Whose jurisdiction applies? If they do something wrong, where do you ship them back to? Who's responsible? Like so I don't know if you can, I don't know if you're allowed to renounce your citizenship if you don't have another citizenship, already. I don't know if you're allowed to do that. Oh, damn, you got a lot of engagement on this tweet. Okay, so here, this is the biggest fear that I have right now, and I don't really know like what we should even do about this. Hold on, synced. Okay, so done uploading. Geez. So this guy tweeted out, it brings me no joy to say this, but you are not ready for the next MAGA NPC update that's coming. So I think there used to be, and that's paying high prices is patriotic. This is one thing that I've said about like neo-Nazis. And I think that this is applying more broadly to the MAGA movement. And I think the issue is that there are some things that we're kind of just like assumed to be good. And one of those things is like economic progress, or maybe technological progress, or maybe just like things that we like scientific research, so we kind of all thought that these are things that everybody thinks will be good, and we don't ever have to kind of like question these, like women having the right to vote, black people not being slaves, racism not being legal, like stuff like this. The thing that scares me right now is when Biden gave a really bad debate performance, the whole Democratic Party checked him so hard, he got kicked out of the primaries with like 100 days to go. And like the liberal media was pretty harsh on Kamala. Just that the Democrats are very self-critical. I don't know if I've seen the Republican media or the conservative media or the centrist media check Trump on anything, ever. And the thing that's like really scary to me is I don't know if there's anything that Trump could say that wouldn't be too far right now. And I think that's like the really scary thing, is that we might already be in a landscape where we've kind of prepared that. So like Trump could say like, it's hard to measure because we've been inching, like, I'm sorry, I keep saying we've been inching closer to like the edge, but we've gone so far over it with Trump saying so many things that are so obviously ridiculous. Like, I don't know if Trump could say something along the lines of, you know, like a patriotic American will kill an illegal immigrant when he sees him. If Trump said that, I think the first response would be epic and he's not serious. And then I think the second response would be, well, if they're an illegal immigrant already, especially if they've committed a crime, and then I think that it could just be kind of normalized, and then that would just be like the environment that we live in. And yeah, I guess I'm really worried right now that we're already in a situation where Trump could say, like Trump trying to revoke birthright citizenship through a motherfucking executive order. It's also a thing, I think I've said this in the past, but like, I don't ever want to hear a Republican talk about literally anything having to do with any kind of values or constitutionalism or rule of law, anything ever again. Like, what the fuck? How the fuck are you going to revoke birthright citizenship with an executive? Why would you even try? It's like unhinged and insane. If you're a federal agent, why the fuck would you ever bother enforcing any law? Like if you're in the FBI, I don't know if any of you are out there, why would you arrest anybody or do anything? Like imagine you're one of the federal officers that arrested somebody at the Capitol that was literally tasing police officers or whatever, and these people all got pardoned. Why are you even doing your job? What the is the point? If the president is literally going to be pardoning people who I thought we weren't going to pardon anybody that attacked cops or anybody that committed violence. And also remember, it's also crazy seeing the 180 on everything. Like Republicans said, there was that tweet, I think, of Charlie Kirk, where it was like ban TikTok, ban TikTok, ban TikTok, ban TikTok. And then it was like, Trump saved TikTok, thank God. And it was like, okay. Or Trump should just pardon the nonviolent J6ers. Trump shouldn't pardon anybody that was convicted of a violent crime. Trump shouldn't pardon anybody that like broke into anything or like actually committed, you know, like vandalism or whatever, or any of that, you know. And then he just pardons literally every single J6er. And it was like, the